So 4.
This one was incredibly easy.
Yeah, this is going to be a recurring complaint I have with every game in the rest of the series. The Mega Buster, this game introduces the concept that you can charge your basic shot before shooting it. There's 2 different stages of charge. The third one is a pretty large blast that your normal pellets will disappear when they first collide through an enemy, and the charge up blast will go through everything. It can potentially hit and kill multiple enemies, and it does, I think, 3 times more damage than your regular shot if you charge it up fully. The ability to charge your weapon is just straight up better than most of the robot weapons you'll get through the game, to the point where I'm pretty sure in all of these 3 remaining games, there are weapons that I got from a boss and then literally did not use once for the rest of the game, because charging your basic shot is enough to carry you through the whole game.
Now, Josh, I am so relieved that you pointed out that this game introduced it, because I did not notice the charging until this is a pattern for these games. I did not notice the charging for like half the game, and I was really worried that the whole series had been doing it and I hadn't noticed.
No. It was introduced with Mega Man 4. Yeah.
Now, we should also address the elephant in the room here. Dr. Wily wasn't introduced as the main bad guy in this one.
Right. This is the plot that the next 3 Mega Man games are all going to use, where there's some initial antagonist that's not Dr. Wily that you think you're fighting for most of the game, until you go through a fake, false final fortress and then find out that Dr. Wily was pulling the strings the whole time. Spoiler alert.
What was this doctor's name?
In 4, it was Dr. Cossack.
Oh, Dr.
Yes.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
Doctor full of fucking lies.
I would have appreciated this twist more if Dr. Wily hadn't already been the big bad for every game. Like, if he was someone that, like, we saw him once before, I would maybe find it a little clever. But this twist doesn't really work when it's every game. I mean, I appreciate them trying to do something with the story in a franchise that, you know, at this point doesn't really have much of that going on. You know, just like Proto Man, like I appreciate that that's something more than evil scientist has bad robots, good scientist has good robot. Like, I appreciate that it's something more, but it's a really dumb twist, you know, when it's every game that relies on him. It's like, yeah, come on, game, we know.
I think we should also bring this up too. In Mega Man 1, all of the robot masters actually had a specific function in the world. Like, Gutsman was construction, just as an example. Now, like, these ones in Mega Man 4, I don't know if they were still trying to continue that theme, but, like, at least some of, like, Mega Man 3's I could see making sense in the real world. But, like, Pharaoh Man.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He
Dust
clearly
Man.
lorded over slaves.
Yeah.
That was clearly
This was the one with Toad Man, right? Can we just go ahead and call Toad Man the worst boss in the series?
So there was a massive fly infestation.
Yeah.
And this was just the best they could come up with.
What about Skullman?
His job was to be badass.
Yeah.
So that's good enough for me.
Skullman's job was to appear on metal album covers.
Skullman's job is being Iron Maiden's new mascot.
Although, you know, given how super metal and badass he looks, I was disappointed that his song was not a favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, his weapon was just your standard rotating shield that you get in every game.
Right.
I played his level first because I was like, ooh, I gotta hear this guy's song.
Really?
And then, then nothing special.
See, there's two kinds of Mega Man players. I went straight for Toad Man because I was like, that's going to be the weak one that's easy to kill with your Buster.
Yeah. You know who would have been pretty good at being metal instead of Skullman?
Who dat?
Metal Man.
I was really hoping you weren't going to go there.
Wow.
I will always go there, Josh.
Well, thank you for that.
Speaking of Metal Man, though, Pharaoh Man and Metal Man had the same style ability that you get from them, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Pharaoh Man's ability was the one that hung over your head and you could charge it up.
Was it? Because I thought Pharaoh Man's attack beat Dr. Cossack's thing in the end. Like he had, or no, I'm thinking of like the end boss with Wily where you could shoot it in 8 directions or shit. Oh, man.
To be honest, guys, at this point, like you said, the game had gotten a lot easier. And yeah, at this point, I stopped worrying about it and stuck with the Mega Buster unless it was doing like no damage.
Also of note, in terms of difficulty in this game, I just wanted to point out, I noticed it first in Mega Man 4, and it stayed with it. It stayed consistent through the last 2 games. After that, this game starts throwing extra lives and energy tanks at you. Did you guys notice that?
I did, and I think that might be the bigger reason that it was a bit easier. I mean, maybe it took me a while to notice how helpful they were being about the energy, because I still I avoided it for some time because I didn't really need it. But at some point in the game, maybe because it started getting, harder at some points than others. But at some point, I started taking advantage of the special weapons. But I think I just had 1 or 2 favorites and didn't really experiment much. But I felt more comfortable using them because of the energy everywhere. So maybe that's a plus.
I don't know about you guys, but I noticed the level designs were shorter and brief.
They did feel short, yeah. Compared to Mega Man 3.
I don't know if I noticed it being shorter. I think I just felt like I was getting through it faster because it was easier.
Maybe that's the trade-off. Maybe they were the same length, but because we weren't dying as much,
Yeah, although that said, these games from this point on were still stupid hard to me. It's just compared to the previous games.
Well, did you figure out how to use the powers in the rest of the games?
Yes, for the rest of the games, I knew how to use the powers. But I frequently had to avoid them because, again, I didn't make note of which games did this. But, particularly, I guess specifically going through Dr. Wily's stages, you couldn't use them because you didn't know if you needed them later.
Yeah, I don't...
Oh, yeah.
In this game, I don't think I got my first game over until I was in Dr. Wily's castle, and that's probably just because the game throws so many extra lives at you that it's pretty hard to run out. But in Mega Man 3, Josh, I game overed once every level.
Right,
Josh, the fact that you got through these without aggressive cheating like me and Alex did is astonishing.
Yeah,
particularly if you hadn't played most of these.
I'm not a stranger to stupid hard platformers.
I always think I'm good at platformers until I come back to this era.
Well, maybe this is a question better saved for the end, but do you feel like you're better at them now? Because I sure as hell do.
No.
I would say I would have learned more if I cheated less. But that said, like I said, I didn't really use Game Genie codes. I did at some point. I couldn't recall where. But again, it was mostly save states. And it was for the sake of not having to go back and repeat levels because I ran out of lives. It was I want the challenge of getting through this level, but I don't want to keep doing shit over and over again because I ran out of the lives. I guess I could have looked up the stage select cheats, but I would say I've improved through the process, but not as much as I would have if I just forced myself to do it right, because forcing myself to do it right, I probably would have spent 100 hours doing all these games on the low end. So... my usual policy with a game from this era is I'll save state at the very start of each level and then try to beat the level without cheating.
Yeah. Whereas I'm let me get all the cheats lined up first.
Yeah, these games did not quite allow me to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I had an interesting time with 4, but that was just because I was oh, what a pleasant stroll down Sword of Memory Lane.
I'm gonna be honest, I had more fun here than I did with 3 because I felt like it was more on my level.
Yeah, absolutely. It was easy mode.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun with Mega Man 4. I have to question whether it being fun makes it a better game, or if... I'm not trying to be all oh, get good, Dark Souls, you gotta suffer to get your enjoyment, but I think the design...
this comes from an era...
as tight as in this game. I think that's for sure.
Yeah. And I think...
The Mega
I mean,
Buster
this
had a lot
comes
to
from
do
an
with that.
era. This comes from an era where beating a game was a big deal. It was something you went to the schoolyard and bragged about. And today,
Yes.
we just take for granted that anyone exposed to video games can beat any video game. And, you know, as an adult with not all the free time in the world today, I prefer that. But, I mean, today, I just want to experience your game. I want to absorb your world. I want to have fun with the gameplay. I want to appreciate it as a piece of art. But that wasn't the goal back here. The goal back here was to challenge you. It was to give you something to go brag about. So, in that sense, yeah, I guess becoming an easier game is worse. But there's a balance between the goals it wanted to achieve and what I actually want to experience today.
That's a very, very interesting thought, actually.
That's fair. And I really wasn't trying to make the argument that it's worse because it's easier.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you that threes is tighter, even if it's harder.
Yeah.
I think that if the difficulty were on the
there's more
same
thought.
level and you didn't have the charge shot, that the game would have been designed. The reason I think that the charge shot was a mistake is because it means that you don't have to interface as much with what I think is the greatest draw of the Mega Man series, which is defeating the Robot Masters and taking their powers. Especially coming off of Mega Man 3, which I know we just talked about that. I didn't get to this here. I think Mega Man 3 has the greatest selection overall, like the greatest arsenal of robot weapons overall in the entire franchise, and it's not even close. Like every weapon has like a situation that you'd want to use it in, and it's useful in different circumstances. And in Mega Man 4, like, the only weapon that I can remember liking was, ironically enough, Toadman's, because it hit everything on the screen, so it was really cool if you're getting swarmed by a bunch of little guys that you couldn't shoot. I am trying to think of other, like, I guess Pharaoh Man. I don't know, like, I can't even remember half the powers in that game because I didn't have to use them. And
Okay,
I think
so that said, Josh, I was ready to come into this actually putting 4 above 3 because it being on my more on my skill level allowed me to enjoy it more. But I think you've sold me. 3 goes over 4.
I just think it's very possible to enjoy 4 more than 3. I think if you're looking at it critically, though, like, as a whole package, I think that the charge shot in 4 overshadows it, like, it's not a great design decision. I think it was not as tightly designed of a game. Also, I found the soundtrack really forgettable.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that at all. I was about to just move on. Guys, from this point on, I don't have much to say about the score because honestly, from this point on, to me, and if you disagree when we get to that game, but the score is consistently, like, good, but it's never Mega Man 2 and 3 again.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Every game I was like, yeah, the soundtrack was good. Like, every song was pretty good. But I never had anything stand out to me as much as Sparkman did in Mega Man 3.
Yeah, or even 1. I think 1 had a better score than these last 3 as well. But, I mean, that said, I'm still going to listen to all of these soundtracks.
Yeah, and Josh, as far as convincing me as well, I think you're right. 3 is better than 4. But I do want to say, I wonder if they made the game easier because of the charge shot. Because you have to have so much time to charge it up to hit an enemy. If they would have made it at the same difficulty as 3, I wonder if it would have made it near impossible to be able to pull it off.
I don't think they made it easier because of the charge shot. I think the charge shot is what made it easier.
Okay, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. All right, we're pushing a lot of time here, so I guess our final rankings so far from best to worst is going to be 2, 3, 4, 1.
I've got 3, 2, 4, 1, but yeah, I'll go with it.
Sure. Okay, Mega Man 5. Man, they're really blurring together for me at this point, so Josh, you take over.
Yes, please. I didn't play Mega Man 5 and 6. I did skim through them a little bit, but I couldn't handle it anymore.
So the first thing I have in my notes for this game was this felt like Mega Man 4 again. And I guess we're done. Let's go on to Mega Man 6. No,
I was gonna say, man, I'm glad I played that game for how many hours to get that out there.
no, I also said robot designs are starting to get really out there. I think this is the one where one of the robot masters you fight is just like a train. Or was that 4? No, that wasn't 4.
No, that was definitely 5.
This was 5. Waveman's stage had a segment where you were on a speedboat for a while. It was like a side-scrolling vehicle segment, which I think was a first for the series, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Sure. Yeah, I remember this. I enjoyed that.
Other than that, this was the game where every Robot Master stage had a hidden letter in it, and if you collected them all, they spelled out Mega Man V5, and you got Beat, the robot bird. This was the first game that Beat was in, and Beat would just absolutely wreck the final boss for you if you had him. It was basically designed to be weak to Beat. Other than that,
I, for the record, didn't see any of that.
you didn't get any of the letters.
I caught letters, but I never looked up what they did if I found them all.
Oh, okay. Well, I found them all, so.
With internet help or on your own?
No, I found them all on my own. They were not hidden very well. The only one, there was only one that was, I think was it Stone Man? I think that's Mega Man 5. There was one of them where you had to shoot the corner of a room that revealed a little slide passage. You could slide off into a hidden room where the letter was.
Keep in mind here, guys, I just want to point this out. I'm reading the story from the manual, and I'm pretty sure this is what the Proto Men have based their albums off of, is Mega Man 5.
So you're saying because they're setting this, they set this one up, the story gimmick in this one is that it looks like Proto Man is the villain in this game. Well, spoiler alert, you find out that it's not actually Proto Man when you get through the first Wily Fortress. It's actually Dark Man, who's a robot that Dr. Wily built that just copies other robots, and the real Proto Man actually ends up saving you from Dark Man at the end of the game.
Wow, I had no idea there would be a twist.
Right? Then you find out that Dark Man was built by Dr. Wily, and then you go kick his ass again.
Yeah, these games were all written by M. Night Shyamalan, hence the alien weak to water bubbles. So,
yeah, this was just before he found his niche in movie directing.
Right. Right. That said, is there really anything else noteworthy to say about 5? I mean...
Not really. I don't have a whole lot to say about this game. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it. It just felt paint by numbers to me.
At this point, I just felt like it was fine. I had fun. If we didn't have other Mega Man games to compare it to, it would be great. But at this point, the games weren't justifying themselves to me anymore.
This is the first game in the series to not introduce anything new, mechanically, and I think it shows.
Which game was it that took away the slide mechanic?
They're in all of these, so I haven't played anything past 7, so it must be one of those.
Okay. Now, should we just move on to Mega Man 6 then? Because nothing's really standouty about number 5.
Sure, well, let's rank this real quick. I'm just going to say it's right below 4 for being damn.
That's where I've got it.
Yeah.
With punishment for no innovation. We're not back down to Mega Man 1 levels, though, right?
No, definitely not. This isn't a bad game. It's fun.
Agreed. I mean, like I said, if we weren't comparing to 2 and 3, this game would be excellent. People would be regularly talking about this today.
I also think that if Mega Man 5 came out before Mega Man 4, that it probably would have been received better. I think it just suffers for coming directly after 4 and doing nothing new.
Sure.
Yeah. It would have felt interesting because Proto Man was introduced in 3, correct?
Right.
So making Proto Man seem like the bad guy would have been perfect for number 4.
Yeah, because Proto Man doesn't do a whole lot in 4. He shows up at one point because, like, he saves Dr. Cossack's daughter off screen, and that's why he stops fighting you. But, like, otherwise, he's not really in the game at all.
Right.
Sure. Okay, moving on to 6.
Okay.
I'm just going to repeat what I've said before. It blurred together for me at this point, and the games stopped justifying themselves.
Yeah.
Just year after year of building new levels in the same game engine with, the same controls, and just not really innovating anymore. Was there anything that stood out to you as different, Josh?
So the big gimmick in Mega Man 6 is the 2 different Rush suit adaptations.
The jetpack.
Yeah, there's the jetpack, which is the good one, and the power suit, which you only swap to when you see the cracked blocks that the power suit can break with the charged punch.
Does it even do damage to enemies?
Oh, it does. Actually, I think the other gimmick of the power suit is it's like really close range, but it can damage a lot of enemies that like shield your regular pellets. Like for instance, you know how there's the Mets, the hard hat enemies in every game that when they're ducked, your shots reflect off their helmet, but when they stand up to shoot you, you can hit them. The power suit, you can just charge up and punch them when they're in their defensive like position, and it still kills them. And lots of enemies that are invulnerable to your shots normally are weak to it, which is what trades off for how short ranged it is in a game where you want to be shooting things from as far away as possible.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to take back my general lack of interest here now that you reminded me of these suits, and I'm going to say I really enjoyed the jetpack mechanic.
I really enjoy the jetpack. I think it made a lot of the levels more forgettable because you could just fucking breeze past all of them.
Yeah, within reason. Granted, there was energy everywhere, but, if you ran out of energy, you'd have to platform your way through, but otherwise, if you still have the energy, then fly right through this.
But yeah, the jet suit was super fun to use, and I actually really liked the Wily fortresses in this game. I think were designed around testing you using both of the different suit adaptations. There were definitely segments of every level where it was like, okay, we're going to design this portion of the level around you using the rush jet, and we're going to design the platforming around that. And I really liked those penultimate levels in this game particularly, where they hadn't stood out to me for a while.
Now, Josh, I would like to ask you a question.
Shoot.
Okay, so the story is something along the lines of a robot tournament and then stuff goes south? Is that what I'm understanding here? Okay. Now, is Mr. X secretly Dr. Wily, who was apparently manipulating Dr. Wily?
Yes. Yeah, I love that about this story, because Mr. X comes out and claims to have been the person manipulating Dr. Wily the whole time, and then it just fucking turns out that he was Dr. Wily.
Oh my god. Keep in mind, guys, I haven't played this game, so my smartass remark just paid off so hard. Oh god, that's so funny.
And like, he's literally not even in a disguise as Mr. X. He's an old dude with like crazy white hair. And then then it turns out that he was actually the old dude with crazy white hair all along. Like, who'd have guessed?
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, I love that.
In retrospect, I don't remember whether or not was Proto Man even in this one. Did he do anything in this game?
I don't recall seeing him.
I'm trying to see if I can find anything about that.
I guess he was just chilling. He had a hard time with things in Mega Man 5.
Here's a bit of trivia, guys.
Shoot.
After the player defeats Mr. X in the NES version, there's a typo in his speech. Quote, "My scheme for world domination has failed."
Oh, I remember that.
F-A-I-L-D.
Yeah.
Yes.
F-A-I-L-D.
I did catch that.
The major plot twist in this game, actually, I'm remembering, the major plot twist for me in this game is when you beat Dr. Wily and Mega Man actually captures him and puts him in jail. Mm-hmm. He doesn't just get away. Dude's in jail.
So here's another piece of trivia. Capcom didn't publish the game in North America when it was released because of declining support to the NES.
Yeah, this one came out in 93, which is crazy. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I wonder if that's the same year that Kirby's Adventure came out, because I knew that Kirby was one of the last games to come out for the NES, and this had to have been up there too.
Here's something interesting about the box art. Capcom's logo wasn't even on the box for the North American released version. It was only mentioned in the copyrights and trademarks.
Wow, that's actually baffling, seeing as like...
Yeah, I don't know how you forget to do that.
No, it was due to the declining support of the NES, and Nintendo obtained the rights to distribute the game themselves instead.
Wow.
So like Capcom didn't want to do it because they were like, no, this isn't looking good. So Nintendo was like, no, we're doing it. Wow, I had no idea.
Wow, imagine already it's so weird to me, the concept that like a game can already be fully created, and then a company, like this is still a thing today, can still just decide, it's not worth releasing over there. Like we've already made it. It's just not even worth the money to make the thing available over there.
Yeah.
It's not like localization's a giant pain for a Mega Man game.
Right.
Right. Keep in mind, I'm reading all like the Mega Man fandom wiki. Apparently, the graphics, data, information, and layout level styles of Mega Man 6 are very similar to Mega Man 5. Many fans have actually believed that it's merely a heavy edit of Mega Man 5. I could see that.
Like a commercial ROM hack.
Yeah.
Back before that was a thing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, well, that's it. Are we ready to sum it all up, or do we have anything else to add to this title?
I'm looking to see if there's anything else here I want to talk about. Wow. Okay. There was a total of 200,000 boss character submissions for Mega Man 6.
200,000.
200,000.
Holy shit.
And
They just opened their own like DeviantArt type website.
Windman and Nightman are two of the only Robot Masters to have not been designed by a person from Japan. So I don't know if they were part of the submissions either, or if like the American Capcom team decided, hey, let's design these two and send them their way.
They were American fan submissions. I knew that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is insane. But yeah, most of those boss character submissions, the 200,000, most of them were overseas. That's insane. I think we've pretty much said everything we want to say about the games as individually.
Okay, so at this point, let's finish our ranking them.
So I put 6 after 4 in the rankings, but before 5.
That's exactly where I was going to put it. Above 5 because I enjoyed the jetpack mechanic, but the jetpack mechanic was still not enough to justify to me how similar these last 3 games I played were.
Yep.
So we're looking at 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 1.
That sounds right.
Okay.
Except swap 3 and 2 for me. Again, I'll die on that hill.
You will roll down it once we kill you.
Yeah, so that's
Now,
that's
keep in mind, guys, this is our opinion here. Overall, we do genuinely love all these games. Even though I didn't play 5 and 6 and I beat most of 1, it was these games how long did it take us to complete all these games? Did it take us like a week, 2?
I did all this in 4 or 5 days.
Well, I played these on Steam, so I can give you hours. It took me... Well, the Legacy Collection had some, like, out-of-game challenges you could do that would be, like, just like boss rushes from other games. So I screwed around with that for a couple hours, but it took me, like, 15, 16 hours to get through these 6 games in total.
Yeah. That being said, these
that
games
honestly blows me away, Josh. Because I probably put in the same amount of time while cheating. I don't even understand how that's possible on a first playthrough.
See, Dalton, that baffles me because You put more time and did more in the games than I did while cheating too.
Yeah,
I did. In the interest of honesty, I did look up recommended boss routes for the games that I haven't played.
Did you ever take advantage of the rewind feature?
I did in Mega Man 1. I tried not to in the other games because it could have gotten... It's tempting. It's very tempting. But I would use save states mostly to avoid the part where you figure out the boss's weakness and then you blow like 3/4 of the weapon bar on an attempt where you die, and then you have to just die over and over again until you get a game over and do the whole level again because there's no way to refill your weapons, which is a major gripe that I have about the whole series that you don't really encounter until like Mega Man 7, which finally introduces an item that lets you refill your boss weapons from the pause menu and not just your energy bar.
Right. So that said, we did technically say that we're here discussing the Legacy Collection and not really the games within it. So, Josh, do you want to elaborate a little more on what's actually available in that collection? Because me and Alex did not play using that.
Sure. So yeah, the Legacy Collection includes the games of Mega Man 1 through 6. There actually is a save state feature, like if you were playing it through more questionably legal means, which I relied on quite heavily to get through Mega Man 1. I don't think I would have beaten that game if I weren't able to use save states. There's also a rewind feature that I really tried not to use, where you can hold a button on your controller, and the game will literally crawl backwards through your inputs to the point where you let go of the button, and then the game proceeds as normal. You can actually do this from you can hold this down for as long as you want to. You can like die and hold a button and rewind until the fight starts. You'll be sitting there for a while, but you can also just use it to if you accidentally ran a pixel too far to the right and fell off a ledge, you can just kind of like rewind yourself back up to the top of the ledge and not run off it. You could Adam Sandler it. It was a pretty handy feature, but one that I tried not to use because it kind of just it's not fun if it's too easy for me. There's actually a lot of concept art for each game that you can unlock while playing, which I thought was really cool. I'd just go through and I beat a game and kind of look at some of the concept arts that, if you're into that sort of thing, it's there and it's nice. There's also a collection of, I think, 50 challenges in the Legacy Collection, which are going to range from boss rushes for each game to, like, there'll be maybe like mashups of level segments from Mega Man 1 or Mega Man 2, or like they actually have some level segment mashups that span games where you'll run through a segment of Gutsman in Mega Man 1, and then all of a sudden you're on Gravity Man stage in Mega Man, one of the last 3, 5, 4, one of those two. I don't know. They all blend together.
Yeah, they really do after playing them for like a week straight.
And
yeah, especially when you're literally jumping in between them.
Yeah, and the challenges will give you medals if you do them fast enough. There's leaderboards. You can, if you really care, you can watch the replays of like people on top of the leaderboard to learn how they did things really fast. So if you're really into like time attack things in games, that's actually a lot of extra content you could get out of there. But I'm pretty sure I picked the Mega Man Legacy Collection up on a sale like last summer. I don't know how much it is normally, but it's probably like $15-20. It's totally worth it for the base content of the 6 games you get instead in general.
Well, hell, I didn't even play using the collection, and I still bought it on Steam just because I wanted to own it legally if I was going to play it. I totally did open the collection expecting to play it that way, and then didn't notice the save state feature, and just thought, oh, there's no way I'm getting through this without one.
Yep, it's there.
Yep, well, I guess I'll keep that in mind when we start Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, which will probably not be a 2-hour episode, but we'll see.
The story is not happy end.
My goodness, if you people are still listening to this, well, thanks for giving it a shot and sticking around for this long. Our Spotlight episodes will not normally go on this long because it's normally not going to be 6 games in one episode. These episodes are generally just going to be as long as it takes. You know, maybe we're done talking about something in 10 minutes. Maybe it takes 2 hours again. That's just how it is.
Yeah, in retrospect, we probably could have broken this up in 1 to 3 and then 4 through 6. But you live and you learn.
Well, I regret nothing. All right. Well, I guess thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Tune in again for another episode.